Hey, you all. Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south. And today I was going to head over to Pigeon Forge. There's something I definitely wanted to check out. But while I was heading over here, my GPS taking me through the back roads of the Tennessee mountains to get to Pigeon Forge. And I noticed here at this Shell station, for some reason, there's an airplane. There's an airplane in the parking lot. Let's go take a peek at this. Yeah, we are in Sevierville right now, just a few miles to get into Pigeon Forge. Yeah, just driving by this Shell station, noticed this airplane. If anyone knows what type of plane this is, please do leave a comment in the comment section. If anyone knows why it's here at the Shell station, let me know that as well. By the way, $2.79, that's a good gas price. Gas prices have been dropping recently, and that's always encouraging to me. But the airplane, yeah, looks like its wings have been taken off. I don't think this is like a commercial jet or anything like that. It doesn't have any windows. I'm guessing, and this is just a guess here, I'm guessing this is some sort of military craft. Oh, you can see there, here's the nose of the plane, and that's been taken off. It's a restricted area, so I'm not allowed to crawl all over the plane. But yeah, here's the wings taken apart. Probably to take the wings off because it's huge. I wonder what they're gonna do with this. If they're gonna do something, if they're gonna put it back together or construct something here. Very interesting. Does look like there's like a wooden structure underneath to hold it into place. I don't know if that is permanent or you know, if they just put this out here for the fun of it. Oh, look over here. You can see some of the landing gear there on this wing. All right, so really cool, but got to be heading into Pigeon Forge. And we have landed in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, right here on the Parkway. And I've been coming back and forth between Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and home. Been driving over here every couple days, you know, finding some interesting stuff to film. And when I was over here filming the other day, I was really caught off guard. I had no idea that this attraction behind me had opened or reopened, depending on how you look at it. Not only this is a new attraction here in Pigeon Forge, this is actually 3 new attractions here in Pigeon Forge. And not only is it 3 new attractions in Pigeon Forge, but it is 3 extinct attractions from the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area being reborn. Let's take a look at what we have here. First of all, you see here right in the center, the Christus Gardens. Now, Christus Gardens was a classic wax museum in Gatlinburg, kind of as an interesting history, but it had closed a few years back, kind of suddenly, and has been reopened here in Pigeon Forge, but it is not opened here alone. We also have the Shroud exhibit. Now, a few years back, I remember seeing billboards advertising the Shroud Museum coming to Pigeon Forge, and actually did get a chance to visit it at a museum based around the Shroud of Turin, the shroud that was allegedly placed over Jesus's face when he died, and that left an impression of his face on the shroud. I got a chance to visit that museum. It did not last very long. It was only here for a short period of time, and then it went away. But now apparently it is back, along with Christus Gardens, and we have a 3rd reborn attraction here we have the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame. And this used to actually be at Dollywood. I noticed a few years ago that it vanished from Dollywood. It used to be right when you enter Dollywood in that first theater. You go off to the side and there'd be the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame. I always stopped in there because they had these animatronic gospel singers that I always loved going in and seeing. It was so sad when the animatronic gospel singers left Dollywood. Don't know if they're in there. Don't know if that is part of the new exhibit, but it's just crazy. These are 3 exhibits, 3 museums, 3 attractions that vanished from the area, and now they have all come together like Voltron, formed together into one new attraction here. And this is actually part of the Biblical Times Dinner Theater. They have opened this new section called the Museums, where they have resurrected, no pun intended, these 3 extinct attractions from this area. Now, Christus Gardens here. This is a kind of a attraction with a somewhat tumultuous history. It was a biblical wax museum in Gatlinburg, and then years and years ago they announced that they were closing. They had been bought out. The Holy Land Experience in Orlando bought the wax figures, moved them to Orlando as part of the Holy Land Experience. They kept the Christus Garden names, so you could go see those original wax figures from Gatlinburg now, or from Gatlinburg, were moved to Orlando. Now, the Holy Land Experience is also extinct. That was demolished a few years ago. That's gone. But the thing is that even though the Christus Garden's name was taken, even though the Christus Garden figures were taken, the director of Christus Gardens, Mark Pedro, he decided he wasn't going to let that wax museum die. I've met Mark, I've hung out with Mark. He's very passionate about wax museums and wax figures. And even though all the wax figures were gone, he was determined to keep the attraction in Gatlinburg running. So actually found a business partner and purchased the religious figures from the Hollywood Wax Museum, the original Hollywood Wax Museum in Hollywood, California. They purchased the religious wax figures as well as other wax figures which were converted to religious wax figures, and were able to actually reopen that attraction in Gatlinburg under the name Christ in the Smokies. And so you had Christus Gardens moved to Orlando to Holy Land Experience. You had Christ in the Smokies in Gatlinburg open with their wax figures. I went through there a few times. It was a great wax museum, but sadly, just a few years ago, that was closed down, and recently they've demolished the entire building that was Christus Gardens, that was Christ in the Smokies, and now it's a parking lot, so that's kind of was disappointing. But the figures that Mark Pedro had put together for the Christ in the Smokies Wax Museum apparently have been now purchased, or at least moved over here to the Biblical Theater, and they have reconstructed Christus Gardens, actually brought back the old name Christus Gardens. So Christus Gardens has existed in Gatlinburg, Orlando, and now Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see all 3 of these attractions. But of course, I always love wax museums. I've tried to visit every wax museum. I've visited every wax museum in the United States, although I've not visited this at the new location, so I guess you can add that to the list. So let's head inside. I did have to book a tour in advance. They give about 4 tours a day, so you have to buy I bought my tickets online for 4 o'clock. It's coming up on 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna head inside and take my tour. Guess who's back? Back again. Jesus is back. Tell a friend. Also, the Shroud Museum's back, as well as the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? And out here in front, we have the Blackwood Brothers Quartet tour bus. This used to be at Dollywood in the Southern Gospel Hall of Fame. It's now parked outside here of the attractions. You can see still putting in some of the bricks on the ground where people have had their names and families and dedicated bricks to people. All right, let's head inside. Always like to check out the brochure, see what's new in town. One thing I do need to catch up on is that there is so many new mountain coasters that I need to. Maybe the cold weather has been discouraging me from trying out the new ones, but there's at least like 3 or 4 that I have not had a chance to ride yet. I'll need to remedy that soon, and you guys let me know if there's anything you'd like me to visit in this area, or anything you'd like me to revisit in this area. Now I went by Alcatraz East. I was going to film a vlog there the other day. They changed their policy. They do not allow filming anymore. No vlogging allowed. So sadly, it's a great attraction. I really do love that. I was really disappointed that they had adjusted their policy. But anyways, let's head inside. All right, looks like in here is the dinner theater. Looks like it's not open tonight, but we want to find our way to the museums. All right, I got my my ticket here. Said I will have a tour guide meeting me here shortly, and we enter here, I guess, through the gift shop. I do see one of the figures there. In the back, we have an angel there. He has a horn. Which is the angel that blows the horn? Is that Gabriel? Is it Gabriel blow your horn? Here's the statue. It used to be over at Christ in the Smokies in Gatlinburg. And yeah, here in the lobby, we have some of the exhibits from the Southern Gospel Hall of Fame. Talks about the history of the museum. Here is the old entrance. When it was at Dollywood, it's connected to the theater there. I think it's now where you get your fast passes for the rides. But yeah, they talk about here how they opened on April 17th in 1991, was featured as part of Dollywood theme park in Pigeon Forge, and they thank Dolly Parton and her leadership team to help expose people to the Southern Gospel. Down here is the animatronic gospel singing group. I used to go into the gospel museum every time I went to Dollywood, and then see what the animatronic singers, see what they were singing that day. So I don't know if they're here. I'd be really excited if I see them, but yeah, that was always a highlight of a Dollywood trip to me. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert in Southern Gospel, but that's why we're here, to learn. And see some of the items here, songbooks, big ornate Bible. Now this is pretty interesting. This is a shape note typewriter. Can actually type shape note music, and it's a very interesting. I've seen shape note singing performed. It's a very interesting. It's hard to explain, but it's a very vocal type of singing, and I would definitely recommend anyone check it out because it's really fascinating to hear it played. But apparently this is one of the only typewriters that can actually type that type of sheet music. It's a specialized type of written music. The notes are different than standard music. All right, heading in.
Did anybody ever go to Christus Gardens when it was in?
Yeah, that's the Jesus where the eyes follow you.
Yeah, so no matter where you go, Jesus' eyes are following you.
Yeah, look at that. You can see him follow us as we
don't take
move.
pictures of people that sell them to you, but if you see a spot like this where you want a picture of you together with...
All right, we're gonna head into the Shroud Museum from here. All right, so head into the Shroud Museum here. And here we have this is one of 16 replicas, I guess 16 authenticated replicas of the Shroud of Turin. Of course, the Shroud of Turin is rumored to have been the cloth placed over Jesus' body after the crucifixion, and they say that it left an imprint of his body. You can see the imprint there, you can see the face, you can see his hands crossed there, and there's been a lot of testing over the years to try to determine, and still somewhat of a mystery. But yeah, very fascinating. I guess it's called the Shroud of Turin because it is currently residing in Turin, Italy. You can see the back there where like the marks where Jesus had been whipped.
Here's the back of the head, and here's blood on the back of the head. And the piercing between the fifth and sixth rib after death is right here. See the white one there mixed? That's because the water and blood came out after death. And do you see the hands? Right here?
Yeah, there's the hands crossed.
There's the nail print.
Okay, yeah, you see the nail print through the rest of the crucifixion.
Nail print and the ink print. It was actually through the ink.
Okay, yeah, there.
This
Be the nail that went through his ankle.
The nuns repaired it real good with cloth, but not with flax. Okay? And then in 1988, when it was tested, guess where they tested it from? They were supposed to test it from 7 different areas on the cloth. It used to say 3, but I found out it's actually 7 different areas. And they tested it from the worst area, where it had been handled. So it only dated back to, 1400s, 1500s. But a man named Ray Rogers figured it out later on. He said, we got a problem. There's coins, there's artwork with the face that's on the shroud back to 400 AD. So we know it's older than, 1500. So they retested it in 2013. That was the last date. And it definitely dates back to Jesus, and it's definitely from Jerusalem, because the limestone that's on the shroud and the flower pollen that's on the shroud is from Jerusalem only. And 7 billion watts of light showed up, because that's what it took to make the shroud.
Make the impression.
To make the impression. It does not go through to the other side. So the blood was made while he was laying down. The impression was made as he was coming up.
And this painting here kind of, depicts what it would have looked like when they were covering Jesus with the shroud there, all his injuries and marks. This is a negative display of the Shroud of Turin. And as you can see, the negative display actually shows way more detail. There you can see very clearly the face there, the hands, and the feet. This is the top part of a cross that would be used to crucify someone. You can see here, this is Frederick Zugabe doing a crime scene analysis on the crucifixion. He has this guy strapped to a cross. He's monitoring all his vital signs, kind of determining what happens to you when you're on the cross. Man, I wouldn't want to be that guy that has to be the guinea pig there. This shows how the crucifixion actually ends your life, and it's even worse than you'd think. You'd see your internal organs become distorted, and you kind of crush yourself. Really horrible stuff. Talks here about proof of crucifixion. This is 1968. They excavated a man, not Jesus, but another crucifixion victim there. They actually found nails embedded in his feet. I guess they say that proves that crucifixion was a means of execution. Here is a Roman flagellum replica where someone will be tied to that, then whipped with those flails there. Very brutal. There's a crown of thorns there. And then these are some Roman spear tips. They would stab Jesus in the side with a spear after the crucifixion. Here's some authentic crucifixion nails here. Nails uncovered in 2001, used for a crucifixion. I guess it's a hand there to show you all the tendons and things that the nail would go through. Now this talks about the second type of burial cloth. This is the Sudarium of Oviedo. Apparently it was a second cloth that was placed directly over just his head. The Shroud of Turin, I guess, was placed over the entire body. So yeah, this is a replica of the Sudarium of Oviedo. It says this is kept in Oviedo, Spain since the 6th century. So yeah, I guess this would have been the face cloth soaked with Jesus's face blood, and I guess the counterpart to the Shroud of Turin. Oh, look at this. You have the sell little miniature versions of the Jesus, or his eyes follow you, and look at that. Even though he's much smaller, his eyes do follow. Piece of prison art that was donated to the museum. So an inmate made this church out of matchsticks. Let's see, we're cutting through here. So it's taking us to the Christus Gardens section.
I want to put a little light down here.
Alright, so it looks like they have the figures here in a theater. You got theater seating. There's the displays around the outside of the theater. So I guess we will find our seat here.
We would like getting into a tour.
Well, there are 60 wax figures in here. It's part of what we bought from Christus Gardens. And this is going to move, rotate.
Alright, so we're on a rotating
Go
platform
from scene to
here.
scene, and they'll light up. Take all the pictures, the videos you want, okay?
That's very
We'll
nice.
have voices, Alexander Scorby reading scripture.
Oh, there we go. Starting
The
to
beginning of the
rotate.
gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar
We have the
Augustus that all the
nativity.
world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when
The
Cyrus
wise men
was
there,
governor of Syria. And
baby
all went to be
Jesus.
taxed, every one into his own city.
Oh, starting to move again.
Then after the visit by the wise men from the east, who had told King Herod of their seeking the foretold
There's
newborn
tween
king,
Jesus.
the angel of the Lord told Joseph in a dream to take his family to Egypt.
Waiting for the next scene to light up.
The word
there
of
we
God
go.
came unto John, the son of Zacharias,
It's
in the
John the
wilderness.
Baptist.
And he came into all the country about Jordan, preaching the baptism of repentance for the remission of sins. Days tempted of the
I think
devil.
that's Satan
And in
up
those
there.
days he did eat nothing.
It's the devil.
And when they were ended, he afterward hungered.
From there he returned to Galilee, continuing his ministry in choosing his disciples.
Disciples came
in the
unto him,
rafters there,
and
we
he
have the
opened his
Sermon on the
mouth and
Mount.
taught them, saying,
Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. His way, therefore,
There's the blind
and walked,
man there being
and came seeing.
cured
The
by
neighbors,
Jesus.
therefore, and they which before had seen him that he was blind, said, Is not this he that sat and begged? Little child unto him,
Jesus
and
with
set him in the
the
midst of them,
children
and said,
there.
Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child. Now before the feast of the
Last
Passover,
Supper.
when Jesus knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto Simon's son to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father, and laid aside his garments, and took a towel, and girded himself. After that, he poureth water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet. Then cometh Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, Sit ye here, while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee. And he, bearing his cross, went
There
forth
we
into
go,
a place
the
called
crucifixion
the place
scene.
of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha. So bewailed and lamented.
Oh, look at this skull right
But Jesus,
there.
turning unto them, said,
Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves, and for you shall say, Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bear.
Also two
Behind the
other
scenes peek,
malefactors
that
led with
actually
him to be put to
is a
death.
wax figure of Alec
And when they
Guinness.
were come to the place which is
And
called
that
Calvary, there they crucified
Russell
him
Crowe.
and the malefactors. He gave up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Now when the centurion and they that were with him watching Jesus saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying,
Truly, this was the Son of God.
And when he knew it of the centurion, he gave the body to Joseph. He came therefore and took the body of Jesus. And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Jesus by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes. And behold, there was a great earthquake. For the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women,
Fear not, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. See the place where the Lord lay.
Oh, there he is.
And go quickly, and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead, and there shall he see me.
Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, into a mountain where Jesus had appointed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him. But some doubted. They asked of him, saying,
Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?
Many sermons and many salvations have occurred during this age of grace. Church after church witnessed the power of the Holy Spirit that all started back on that day of the Feast of Pentecost.
There we have a modern day church scene.
We have walked through the life of Christ, heard the accounts of his life, his work, and his heart for us. But the story does not end with Christ going to be with the Father.
I kind of want to get a look at the theater here and see. It sits here on like this turn table and all the scenes. It's actually a very, just moderately sized room, but they have the different scenes stacked up, very creatively placed, the lighting as it rotates. And it doesn't just rotate, like it's not all like one after another. It's back and forth and going to the different spots that light up at different times. Very, very interesting show. Very interesting presentation here. All right, and then we head into the Southern Gospel Hall of Fame. Okay, see the old recording equipment there. The bass guitar and an accordion there. Here's an exhibit on the Blackwood brothers. See some of their outfits here, some of the clothing they wore during their gospel career. See gospel music being played on these vintage televisions here. Look at this. This is a television and a record player. Look on the top there, you can see the record. A classic home entertainment system. I'm actually a big fan of, like, my grandma didn't have this necessarily, but she had like the big wooden TV that sat on the floor that I loved watching. Yeah, these TVs are really cool. Some different outfits here from different gospel musicians. There is Kenny Gates' suitcase. And it says this is the stage costume of the Claunt Indian family, who looks like they performed in full Native American regalia. There's the outfits of Howard and Vestal. And look at this, we have the Cabbage Patch Doll version of Howard and Vestal. This is given to them by some fans. That's pretty amazing. And here is the actual Hall of Fame. The faces here, all the different performers and people involved in the gospel industry. And from here, we exit. Oh, into some sort of gift shop. And look at this, was not expecting to see Gumby and Pokey here in the gift shop. Here we have the Hillbilly 10 Commandments. 1 is ain't but one God. 2, don't whittle nothing that looks like God. Oh yeah, don't make graven images. Treat God's name like you do your mama. Get yourself to Sunday meeting. Honor your pa and ma. No murdering. That's a big one. No murdering. No fooling around with another feller's gal. Hey, don't take what ain't yours. Yeah, don't steal. Don't be lying about your neighbor. Some people on YouTube could take heed of that one. And it says, don't be wanting what ain't yours. So the Hillbilly 10 Commandments, very similar to the standard 10 Commandments, just with a little flavor added in. Oh, look at that! There's the Jesus statue that follows you with his eyes. Let's see if it works even on a T-shirt. Let's see, follow us over there. Okay, I don't think it works on a T-shirt. I think it only works in statue form. I was wondering about this sign here. It says Great Spirit Unique Gifts. I wonder if this was, it's on the wall here. I wonder if this was a sign that used to hang up somewhere along the parkway. Yeah, when we were making our entrance, saw that they were doing some work here on the bricks here. Which it says this is the Southern Gospel Hall of Fame Walk of Fame, where people could pay $100 to get their own brick placed here on the ground. And I guess we can get a closer look here of the Blackwood Brothers Quartet bus. Like I said, this used to be indoors at the museum while it was at Dollywood. If we could take a little peek here into the driver's seat. So thank you for joining me here today. 3 attractions that I thought were gone forever, and they all formed together and created a new attraction. Christus Gardens, the Southern Gospel Hall of Fame, and the Shroud of Turin Museum. I am disappointed. I was hoping, fingers crossed, hoping they had the animatronic gospel singers. They weren't in there. I don't know where they are. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll pop up someday. But yeah, very interesting how they've presented the displays at from Christ in the Smokies / Christus Gardens. You know, they didn't have a lot of space to work with, but they use it very effectively. You know, putting the little scenes, and then you rotate. You feel the platform rotating in both directions. Then it'll stop, light up a section, and you can enjoy that. So interesting. Yeah, it's like a theater show. It reminds me of an attraction. I think it's, I'm trying to remember the exact name, but it's at the Witch Museum, several witch museums, but one of the witch museums in Salem, Massachusetts has a similar setup where there's animatronics and wax figures that come out, and you can see up in the rafters. So kind of a same thing where it's kind of like one room that like presents a show with narration that you can observe while you are enjoying the show. And glad to see, just always glad to see. I always hate to see attractions close down. I hate to see attractions evaporate. So good to see that that these 3 attractions are back. And again, I thought all these may have been gone forever. So good on them. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like these videos, please subscribe. I travel around the country. I film roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun random stuff. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider contributing to Patreon. $3 or more will get you a postcard once a month from me to you. Also selling enamel pins in the Etsy shop. And if you'd like to receive a personal message, a Christmas message, you can get one for yourself. You can send one to a friend or family member. Doing that on Cameo. You can also do birthdays, anniversaries, or just for fun. All that is in the description of this video. And all that helps keep this bus on the road, this boat in the water, and this dirigible in the air. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag.